So we have a lot of wrist-thick, dry, dead wood, mostly cedar, some hemlock and fir. We got a pile of twigs here, and all behind it we got a bunch of big long cedar logs, and some hemlock and other mix of conifers. The birch bark right here is nice and dry, no ferro rod, but you know what? If you know how to take care of your lighter, you'll be nice and set. Get that piece lit. What we're trying to do is get a lot of heat made quickly. So I'm going to keep lighting in different spots. The amount of birch bark that's in there is about the size of my head. You want a lot of heat to get this started, especially in the cold. Some of this still has ice on it. Some of it still is a little damp. So the faster we heat it up, the faster it dries out. And what will happen is the heat will start to spread out amongst all this wood. And it'll burn nice and evenly. As the night goes, I can just keep toppling other dead logs on top and keep it burning. As you can see, this fire is going to be nice and long. We got a lot of lumber, a lot of timber on there. Most of it is softwood, which is why we have to have so much of it. One of my mentors growing up, Gino, used to say, when you think you have enough wood, double it. That's the rule up here in the conifers. Up amongst the conifer trees, whether it's cedar, spruce, hemlock, fir, pine, you need to have a lot of wood to last the night, and you never know when you might need more. Sometimes you think it's only going to be minus 20, and it drops right down to minus 45, minus 50. Not so often down here in central Ontario in December, but come January, February, oh yeah, we get minus 40 a lot down here. So what's going on is the flames are catching all these little twigs, and it's going to start smoldering back and heating up and preheating the wood before it lights. And in about another 20 minutes, this whole thing is going to be in flames. And you're going to be seeing one big sheet of flame, sometimes 5, 6, 7 feet tall. Now, the real point of a warming, drying fire like a long log fire is you're not supposed to be up close, huddled up to it, trying to warm your fingers and your digits piece by piece. You're supposed to actually have to take one big step back and let the heat come to you. You're not being warmed by the coals or the flames per se, but the radiant heat coming from them. The fire should be one good step away from the bed, like that, and the wind should be parallel with the fire's length. And the real point of that is to make sure that no matter what, the wind and embers are traveling away from me. The smoke and embers are traveling away. I'll be nice and warm in here as long as I don't have an end on the end of my lean-to. Any smoke that comes over here and hits my boots, that ain't gonna bother me. It's not gonna cycle back in. It's gonna continue on its way, as long as we give it an open path to move. The other secret for winter camping is I don't want anything here. I don't want my pots and pans lined up here. I don't want my pack here. I don't want a tripod hanging over the fire. I want nothing in between me and that heat. Nothing at all. The bed is elevated, so any heat that's actually radiating downward, which is rare because warm air rises, but any radiant heat radiating straight out will hit the bottom of the bed and rise up from beneath. So I'm going to be warmed all the way around. Convection working for me, not against me. So we're going to get this fire nice and hot, and I'm going to have a good night. As you can see, the fire's getting nice and hot. It's starting to grow. It's starting to get nice and big. The flames are actually coming together at one point, which means it's got a focused heat. It's not all sporadic and little flames everywhere. And the coals are starting to build up. It's going to make a nice coal bed. Now, I'm on a bit of a slope here, but luckily that's a nice plateau. It's nice and flat. If anything's going to fall in, it's going to fall in that way back onto itself. And, well, as you can see, the steam is coming off my wet wool bibs. My mitts are starting to steam as well and dry off. This is the beauty of a warming, drying fire. All I got to do is just sit here, relax. I got a bit of a backrest, a little bit. If I sat over here, it'd be a little bit better, but I'll be further away from the fire. But this fire is going to keep me nice and warm as the night goes. As it burns, it'll collapse in on itself, and if I have to, I can get up and push the ends together. And the great thing is, I'm not stuck in a sleeping bag, so I don't have the excuse of, oh, I'm just going to sleep it off. If it gets cold out, I have to get up, and I have no excuse to not get up and come over and take care of the fire. A lot of people, they think they can just tough it out by staying in their sleeping bag as the fire goes out. This way, I don't have to worry about that. I have to get up to take care of this fire if I want to stay nice and warm and sleep. The first couple of times you do this, you're going to have a rough night. You're going to have sleep problems. You're not going to be able to get back to sleep after getting up and checking on the fire. You might have the fire fall out on you a couple of times or go out in certain spots. But by the third or fourth time, you don't even remember getting up to take care of the fire. It just becomes natural instinct. On many occasions, I've woken up in the morning and wondered what the hell happened to all my firewood and why have I still got a fire going. I forgot all about getting up because I never really had to get fully conscious to do so. Now in an emergency situation, this is my fire, this is my wood pile. As the night goes, I start throwing more and more wood from the foot end until by morning, I'm sitting here with just a little bit of a windbreak, and that's going to keep me warm for the night. It's an emergency situation. That's one of the reasons we like to use dead wood for this, dead standing logs. Now if you look, some of these logs are starting to steam, some of the snow is going to fall off. That's why I don't usually recommend putting your bedding right down, but I'm going to be putting another layer on top of this before I go to bed. It's okay if a little bit of it gets damp, and with this radiant heat, it's not going to be that wet in here at all. It's going to dry right out before I go to sleep. I've got a couple hours of daylight left, so what I'm going to be doing is getting more firewood, collecting some snow to put in my cook pot to melt so I have drinking water, and getting myself ready for the night. One recommendation I have if you're going to be sleeping out without a sleeping bag or a blanket, you're going to be trying this setup, eat a lot of food. Take in a lot of calories before you go to sleep. Don't be afraid to snack in the night. This is one of those moments where guys like me really enjoy winter camping because we have an excuse to snack all night long. Drink warm liquids, use the bathroom. I have a few people I've met over the years that have this fallacy of, if you gotta poop, hold it in, it'll keep you warm. No, go use the bathroom. The longer you focus your energy on trying to keep that in, the less you're sleeping, and actually your body has to keep that warm. It's not the other way around. The mess that comes out of you, the feces, the urine that has to come out of you, that is just holding your heat. It's not going to give you heat back like a fire does. So if you got to use the bathroom, got to go when you got to go, then go ahead and do so. Don't hold it in. Don't be afraid to get up in the night. You got this beautiful fire going. You got an axe nearby if you're that worried about animals. The animals that you got to worry about this time of year coming into your camp are mice, some squirrels, things like that. I'm going to get this fire tended to a little bit better, and I'm going to start getting some rest in me. Have a good night, guys.